On to the next video. Let's talk about the usefulness of organization for an individual. Now, I speak of this, I'm referring to things like cleaning your room, your house, hotel, wherever you're staying and living. I will not deny that I'm not the most organized person on the planet. I mean, if you could see the setup and honestly pretty much anything, you'd probably agree with that statement. As would my parents. Yeah, I did not get the best reception when my mom saw my college dorm. Which is fair. But, despite that, I do recognize the advantages that organization brings. I have actively tried to be more organized. How successful, that's debated, but I have tried. And so let's honestly go over those benefits. See, organization for an individual allows an easier way to sort items and thus an easier way to recall their locations and access them. It's not just slapping a label on something so you remember that's where I put my pencils. It's a matter of understanding, okay, this is near this and this is near this. Our brains are programmed for pattern recognition. If they can find a pattern, they will use it. Organization helps that massively and makes things far easier to recall and less strenuous on the brain. Organization can also be used to minimize hoarding behaviors and thus allow for reduced clutter and increased cleanliness. See, when you have a bunch of things thrown all over, one, you don't know where everything is, so already there's things that you just can't clean, and thus things that you may just hoard even if you don't intend to. And two, it's far easier to justify hoarding behaviors because, well, why do it when you're not organized? Nothing's clean, so you never know what you might need. Who knows, maybe that sandwich you stored for 2 weeks will finally be useful for something. No, it won't. Now, hoarding is something that I cannot tackle fully because, let's face it, hoarding's an actual psychological behavior and problem that plenty of people have. I am no doctor. Not in any field, actually. And I think that's probably good for a lot of people because I am fairly certain an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, honestly, pretty much anyone under the age of like 22 who has a doctorate would be very questionable, especially with how many classes they'd have to take. Those classes must be easy. But, as already stated, I ain't one of those. So, worries about a fake doctorate aside, the fact is, I can't fully address such a thing. But there are true benefits to hygiene, even if we ignore hoarding behaviors. Cleanliness does increase with organization, and that does help with hygiene. Think about it. If you have things every which way, that makes it easier for things to get lost. Perishables especially, which means more bugs. More bugs means more bug droppings. Bug droppings aren't good for you. So on and so forth. Things get worse. And of course, if you have it to a point where there's straight up mold or other decomposers in your house, well then that's even worse, because it's actively destroying materials that are very useful while simultaneously encouraging more insects. This should be common sense, and I would hope it is common sense, but without question, by organizing things, it's far easier to be clean. That, again, should be self-explanatory. But being clean also helps with hygiene, and so you really have a lot of incentives, especially if you want things to, stay at a reasonable place and, not get sick, to be organized, to have things set up in a particular way. Even if you don't remember it off the top of your head, sometimes you just have to develop your own system as you go. But once you have it, take notes of it and acknowledge it. Especially as there's another benefit. Organization can often be used to build discipline. It forms habits. After all, if you, for example, have all your drinks in one part of your house, then every time you want to get a drink, you go to there. Every time you want to put drinks away, you go there. It establishes behaviors. Behaviors form habits, and habits create the backbone for discipline. And so, through your organization, you form a habit that makes disciplined behavior easier. And with that disciplined behavior, you can do a lot of things. That is the baseline for commitment. That is how you have it. Discipline. It is also the backbone of restraint. If you don't want to do something, then you need to be disciplined to avoid it, especially if it's something tempting, like eating sweets, drinking unhealthy drinks, engaging in promiscuous or otherwise poor behaviors, etc., etc. If it's something that you don't want to do, or that shouldn't be done, then it helps to have discipline, since unless there's a natural disgust reaction, which, let's face it, not every poor behavior has, then it's far harder to actually avoid it. And, along with that, there are other things that are actively hard to get rid of without discipline. You don't get rid of addiction without some level of discipline. Don't get rid of fat without the same. And since organization helps build that, along with a number of other things, then you simply have a position where it's better to have organization because it forms the backbone of really good things you want outside of it. It's effectively a backbone to allow you to go further than otherwise you could. You'll be healthier because your room's more hygienic, you'll be more disciplined, and you can minimize impulsive behaviors like hoarding. Plus, I'm sure plenty of people would rather look at your room, or really any place in a building, clean than dirty. It tends to say bad things when a person isn't fully taking care of themselves, and that goes for where they live as well. I'm sure much of this is obvious, or at least I hope it is, but it's still worth acknowledging and should be put forward for why people should behave in better ways and more organized ways. It's not just the state that needs good organization, nor is it just, organizations that need good organization and logistics. So do people. And so its usefulness shall never be, hopefully, forgotten. I do hope you